Hi, everyone. I'm talking about, how do you get ready for a negotiation? How do you be seen as more trustworthy, more credible? And I'm here with one of my dear friends who's an expert in the field, and he's an expert in a couple of different things. One is he is the co-founder and CEO of Merrill Research, which is a custom, full-service, multidimensional research firm that was started in 1986, and they help companies really bring their new products to the market and help those companies, those organizations with their strategic communications. Well, as he was doing that, he started watching people and became fascinated with how people said one thing, but their bodies may be saying something else, that body language reading. And so he founded and is now CEO also of the Merrill Institute for Nonverbal Intelligence. And what that means is it's a body language training organization that also does certification. That organization was founded in 2016. This is my dear friend and expert, and his name is David Schneer. David, welcome.
Linda, thank you for having me. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, and we know that this means, what does this mean, David? That you're saying it genuinely, you're trustworthy, because it's symmetry, right?
Correct.
So, this is one thing that I've learned through the course of the months of knowing David, I guess almost a year now. This means, yes, you can trust me. But David, there's some other things you can do to help people trust you and their body language kind of techniques. So in addition to, you learning about them, we've always talked about get prepared, understand who you're going to negotiate with or have that big conversation with. What else can we do to show people that we're there and we are trustworthy?
There's a lot that you can do. First off, I want to give a shout out to a gentleman by the name of Robin Dreek, who wrote a book called The Code of Trust. If anybody really wants to understand the principles of establishing trust, I highly recommend that you read his book. He's ex-FBI, and the entire spy tradecraft is built on trust. Am I dealing with somebody who's a spy or a double spy? But so I highly recommend that book. It's fabulous. But in addition to that, there are things that you can do. Number one is you need to be generous. Now, what does that mean? Leaders who want people to follow them, who want people to trust them, need to be generous, not only in resources to get people to do the job that they've been hired to do, but also generous with time, meaning make time to see your employees. We see some CEOs who are shy, they're introverted, they're brilliant, but when they go to a meeting, they tend to hang around the same old clique. They're not approachable, not generous with their time. And if that's the case, you'll never get anybody to follow you. So be generous in that way. You got to put yourself out there and show confidence.
So is that, you don't stand over in the corner and kind of watch people. You're actually going out with them, talking to them, shaking hands if you're doing that, fist bumping, whatever. But you want to split it up and move around and make sure maybe you see people eyeball to eyeball. If you're really tall or short, whatever, you might want to sit down with them. So being generous is physically as well as mentally being open to other people. Love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the people you always hang out, they know you and you know them and you're comfortable with them, which is why you hang out with them. Take yourself away from those folks, because they're still going to be comfortable with you, and go meet other people that don't know you, because they're not likely to be comfortable enough to come up to you.
Okay, and that's that accessibility piece too, is that you want to be accessible and generous. That's great. Okay, now then, what is validate? Because when I think of validate, I served on the board with a CEO, former CEO, and what he said was, Linda, whether you agree with me or not, you better speak up, because people have voted for you to be on this board. They want your opinion to be shared, whether you agree with anybody. If you have something important to say it. So that was very validating to me. But I bet there's some body language things we can do that are more validating than maybe shut off or shaking our head no. What can we do that's validating from a body language standpoint?
Subtle things. First of all, you do want to make people, heard. People want to be heard. Sometimes that's all they want is to be heard, right? And so to sit there and listen to them and try not to contort your body in ways that would appear as if you were disagreeing. And here's the beauty is once you begin to realize the body language behaviors in other, you will begin to adopt that yourself. And so you will become almost super comfortable knowing that you're not going to swivel in your chair or look away or do any of those things that would indicate that you're not being listened to. But validation means just that. It means just listening to them, whether they're right or wrong, and then repeating it back to them.
Okay. And it can be nodding, but I've told to watch the nod. Some people nod to say, I'm listening. And some people think you're nodding means I'm agreeing. I may not be agreeing with you, but I'm listening, speak on, speak on. So you need to watch those nods. Is that correct? Or what do you do when you're nodding?
The nods are generally a indication of an affirmative answer. Okay. But doing it too much can again be almost distracting, and you don't want to be. You want to nod on emphasis, but the best thing you can do is just tilt your head.
It's kind of like this, kind of like you're listening, like a dog would listen to you,
just
or something.
Like a dog. I have a presentation, and I have a picture of a young woman who has got her head tilted. That's a sign of engagement. And then right next to her is a German Shepherd in the same
doing the same thing.
If you have a dog, you will notice that they do that. They're looking. They don't have no idea what you're saying, but they're struggling to hear.
So that kind of goes along with empathy too. You're validating, you've got empathy, you've got compassion. How do you show empathy and compassion?
Most people, I think, don't really understand the difference, and there is a difference. Empathy is being able to put yourself in somebody's shoes, being able to feel their pain, being able to validate them. Compassion is doing something about it.
Oh.
Okay. So that means that if you're a CEO and you're listening to somebody and they're in pain, you got to have empathy, but with no compassion, you've not done anything to relieve them.
So what's a body language thing? Is it that you lean in? Is it that you say, what would you do to show them, I have compassion for you?
Just what you did. You came in, you leaned in, your eyes came in as you were not angry, but concentrating. I could see the furrows in your forehead, and that's the glabella, and that is the ridges that get formed when we're seriously thinking of something or when we are stressed. So everything you just did was awesome to do that. And again, the head tilt, repeating what they say, verbally mirroring. If you're with them in person, you want to physically mirror. So if their legs are crossed, your legs are crossed.
And not weird, not exactly, but you just try to mirror it. You're right. I've heard that some people are weird about it, but most people, if you'll just kind of lean back when they're leaning back or leaning forward, makes sense.
It's subtle. It's when you first start to try, it seems very awkward. But after you do it for a while, it's just become supernatural.
And some people have told me it's like manipulative. In my mind, it's more, if you feel comfortable this way, I'm going to try to feel comfortable with you. Is that?
Yeah, we're not teaching people here to be manipulative, but rather we're teaching people to understand when somebody's super uncomfortable and how to turn that around. Look, nobody likes to help a jerk. Nobody likes to hang around sad people, right? If you're going to be a dynamic leader, you're going to need to put yourself out there. You're going to need to be accountable.
Yeah, okay, and a simple one. A simple one. You said, open your jacket if you're wearing one.
That's right.
And you have a shirt under it. Open your jacket, undo what? Why do we do that?
Opens the torso, exposes the torso, which means I feel comfortable around you. I don't feel threatened. I'm welcoming you. That's why politicians generally have 2-button jackets so they can quickly open them and close them.
Got it.
Roll up your sleeves.
And there's nothing to show here. I've got no cards hidden.
Yeah, I'm getting down to work. I'm serious.
Yeah, and I'm not covering my heart, which is a vulnerable place. Oh, that's so interesting.
Speaking of that, covering your heart, there is a gesture that indicates that somebody is having difficulty with what you're saying, and that is covering the suprasternal notch.
Oh, up here.
The suprasternal notch.
Up here.
Yeah, that's the suprasternal notch, is that indentation right here under your Adam's apple. And generally women are more likely to cover that when they're stressed. Now, for a leader to be able to know that, to be able to say, Linda, where were you last night? Well, I was, I don't know, I can't remember. That should be a sign that something is amiss.
Got it. And so asking, I saw this bothered you, you don't say, I saw you take your hand and do this, but you say, something changed here. And that just allows you to be compassionate.
Right.
Because you can't really assign exactly what the meaning is, but you just see that there's been a change. Isn't that right? That's what you told me.
That's correct. And the key, Linda, is what caused the change. What's the stimulus that drove that behavior? Because remember, there is no one single indicator of deception. Not a one. It has to be put together and combined in clusters around a stimulus.
It has to all it has to do for you is raise a question so you can ask some more questions, which we've talked a lot about. Right. Negotiation is live in the question. Hey, correct. David, this was great. And thank you. And thank you so much for being with us. And everyone else, thank you. I really do genuinely care about you. And I think this is important in learning how to express ourselves, watching what our gestures say, watching what other people's gestures say, and at least asking them, I saw that something happened for you then. What's going on? Go negotiate.